Tal from William Frick. As I mentioned earlier, we've been doing these lightning talks with some of the technology partners and some of our solution providers to really educate us as well as educate the customers in the room and the partners in the room about ways that other technologies are being used and ways they might be able to kind of leverage their expertise along with the Xerion team to create some unique solutions. So Brett Howe here is in business development at William Frick, and Brett, the floor is yours. Appreciate it.
Thanks everybody for having me, I appreciate that. Just to recap a little bit on what Tyler and Serge talked about our SmartCat apps. Audience poll, is it cool that we can put RFID values right into iForm Builder? Yes. So I'm not here to talk about that at all. I'm here to talk about RFID tags. Which, as a printing company, as a tag and label company, we wanted a platform like iForm Builder to basically help us go to market. In a lot of applications, customers really need like a six-figure solution with back-end portability into Oracle or SAP in order to even just buy 10-cent RFID tags. What about the mom and pop applications where we can kind of fly under the radar with budget? So really appreciate the work and the partnership that we have together. So why RFID tags? How can we benefit from the data that they provide? So a few RFID applications that are common. Retail. Suraj talked about the Walmart model a little bit, how tags go on boxes, boxes get unloaded, tags go in the garbage, right? Then they also put tags on all the items at the store level, and they do cycle counting with handhelds and go through and figure out what inventory they have, what inventory they don't. If they're missing something, where can I get the nearest thing so they don't lose that sale? Manufacturing, work in process tracking, tool tracking, inventory, shipping and receiving, places like Boeing, John Deere, Foxconn, here and abroad. Asset tracking, returnable shipping containers, weapons issue and return with military. Safety inspections, I'll talk a little bit about airlines, but also making sure that people who are supposed to be wearing PPE and fall restraint vests actually have them on by just zapping them. Recreation, Suraj talked about race timing, but I like the, I wanted to use the laser like Penny did. NFL stats, I think last season was the first year they actually used active RFID in helmets and in the ball. And if you saw those like data analytic graphs of how fast the guy ran and where he caught the ball and all that stuff, that's all RFID, that's all data points. So RFID 101, again, Suraj touched on this a little bit. Energy comes out of the reader in an invisible blue wave looking thing, powers up the chip which has the data in it, talks back to the reader, and that's how you get data. Handheld or fixed mount, we'll focus mainly on handheld applications because we've got the mobile platform with iForm Builder on your phone. Tags for any purpose. I'm talking fast, I only have 15 minutes. So what we really are is a packaging company. On this side, you have what we call inlay-based solutions. And I don't do a lot of PowerPoint. I don't do a lot of showing pictures of the tags because it's so much better to show and tell and touch and feel. And you guys all have samples from earlier, so that's great. What we really are is we're a packaging company. The inlays come in all different shapes and sizes. The bigger they are, the farther they read. And it's our job to ask the customer questions and figure out how to package that so that it works for a specific purpose. It's got the right adhesive, reaches the right temperature, has the right durability, that kind of stuff. And over on this side, there's more durable, somewhat custom, somewhat kind of standardized form factors. Wire tags. An RFID tag can be made with anything conductive. So electrical wire can be made into a tag, long and skinny. You can put a little loop on it for attaching it to things. Zip ties, this one's a high temperature one that'll do about 400 degrees. This one will do about 500 degrees. Super durable, IT asset tracking, all kinds of stuff like that. So I've got 3 short stories about RFID tags, how they're used, why they're used. A tool tracking use case, a telecommunications company use case, and airlines. So here's the tool tracking use case. Think about after World War II, big boom in manufacturing, no rules, like just get your job done, right? Go grab your tools, go do your work, return your tools at the end of the day. What happens when tools start to go missing? Oh man, what are we gonna do? So they add a supervisor, which adds cost and adds complexity. You know, you have to sit there and talk to the guy to get your tool, go get your work done, give the tool back to the guy at the end of the day. It takes time, reduces productivity. So with technology, maybe that guy starts barcoding all of his tools to help the process flow a little bit easier. Scan your barcode badge, scan the barcode tool, give it to you, speeds up the process. Well, with RFID, if you can tag the tools, and if you have an infrastructure, you can go back to this model where you can just go grab your tools, your badge is red, the tools have tags, you walk out, and everything's assigned to you automatically. So you're basically going from efficient in the old way to efficient in the new way, not letting the technology get in the way of your business process. Make sense? Here's a picture. So the tags for tools can be tiny. They're little ceramic chiclet looking things. They're attached with epoxy and like a heat shrink so that they don't fall off. There's applications with aviation where you're not allowed to lose anything. If you chew a piece of gum, you can't throw the wrapper on the ground. Like it's a foreign object free environment. Telecom use case. Oh man, we think the cable guy's stealing equipment and selling it out the back of the van. What are we gonna do? So let's tag the equipment that we're worried about using. Let's put an RFID reader in the van, and every time the guy opens the door, the dome light kicks on, the RFID reader starts reading, takes a snapshot of all the inventory, and as something leaves that field of view, meaning he took it out of the van, it's no longer being read. So it knows who he is because he's driving the van, it knows the van because the van has a tag in it, it knows all the inventory of the van, and when something leaves, it knows who took it. It's got GPS in the van, so it knows where the guy is. And in the telecom world, once you hook it up to the network, then you can see that asset on the network. So benefits of this are, one, no more gray market or black market theft. Two, better track of the operator, his time, his route, and then you get reporting off that too. So how do we do this? We worked with the cable company, we worked with their suppliers. At the time it was Motorola, TV set-top boxes, right? Get some of these items in, take a look at the different types of tags we can use, and we ended up using those inlay-based solutions. So it's a peel and stick sticker that's on the inside of it that you can read it when it's all built up from about 6 feet away. And you can read an entire pallet of these things. So when these are being made in China, they tag them, they assign industry standard data to it that gives you the company's cage code and item reference. You know, when you go shopping and you have a UPC barcode to check out, all that information has an RFID equivalent that gives you sort of the same thing along with the serial number. So that's encoded into there. So then when the cable company receives it, they know what it is, who did it come from, and that's how they keep track of this. And the last case is the airline use case. Oh man, our airline incurs $10,000 fines per day, per occurrence, if they fly with expired items. So these are life vests. Life vests have a 5 or 10 year life to them. And if the airline can't keep good track of these things, then they could accidentally incur a fine. So why doesn't their manual inspection process work? If you think about it, I don't know how many seats are in here, but if you had to crawl around underneath every single one of these seats and look for an expiration date label in human readable, not barcode, when would you stop caring? No? So it's very heavily reliant on human and human error. So, and that process takes time. So if I'm scanning for 250 life vests and I gotta crawl around, we're talking maybe 3 hours. If we have 250 RFID tagged life vests and you have a reader and you preload what you're expecting to see and you tell the reader you want to see anything that's going to expire within the next 6 months, pull the trigger and walk down the airplane, you can collect all this data of what's there and when it expires and where it is in less than a minute. 3 hours to less than a minute. So that's part of the power of RFID. But airline maintenance crews are union, so you can't sell labor savings. So what you do is labor reallocation. These guys are making $25 an hour. They don't need to be wasting their time searching for dates. They need to be fixing the airplane, right? The other side benefit of this is when they were looking for those dates, if it wasn't within the 6-month window, they just move on and they forget about it. They never wrote that date down. So there was never a record for the next time they go search. They're looking at the same thing over and over and over again. So when you do the RFID reading, even though it's still good and you don't need to take any action on it, there's still a record of that scan. Timestamp, users logged in, it's still good. And now they have a fleet-wide record of expiration dates for all 90,000 life vests that are installed on airplanes, plus what's in inventory, because what's in inventory is also in the process of expiring. So they can take their inventory process from a just in case they need to do replacements to just in time. Now they know when they have to make these replacements on aircraft. And here's a picture of what these look like. So here's a twin aisle aircraft that has about 250 seats in it that they can scan all the RFID vests in less than a minute. Here's what some of them look like. There's data standards. If you look up here, this 2D barcode has part number, serial number, data manufacturer, expiration date. All that stuff is encoded on the RFID tag in an aviation industry standardized data. So anybody that has software that's written to understand this can read it. So there's a big interoperability push there too. So in summary, all of these use cases have two oh man moments. Oh man, we've got a problem. Or, oh man, RFID can really help us here. Successful RFID projects are not funded by, oh man, that costs too much, right? Successful RFID projects are funded by identifying the business problem and determining through testing that RFID can be a beneficial solution. And if RFID can solve your initial business problem, chances are there are some side benefits to collecting data in ways you weren't able to before. And most successful RFID projects should allow for business processes to flow without technology getting in the way. Thank you. Is there any questions? There was RFID questions before. Yeah.
So you mentioned actually in the retail example, they just discard the tags after single use, is that?
Well, if you think about, if you go buy a 6-pack of socks at Walmart, right? It's got the tag on it. What do you do with the packaging when you get home?
Yeah.
There you go. So there's a big push to get the price down. And when Walmart started with the cardboard box label a dozen years ago or more, these things cost about 50 cents a piece. And now they're, 10 cents or less for that kind of model. So the cool thing is for our niche projects where we're doing like the airline use case, we're using those same inlays and we're packaging them in a different way to make them more durable. So the end user can take advantage of that the technology is getting cheaper.
And I guess you have a different requirement there too. It's truly just a read-only type of mode. You're not going to be writing any data back for a retail type of example, right? So.
Right. So the socks at Walmart will have a company reference. They'll have an item reference. They'll have a serial number. So Walmart or Macy's or whoever's selling that sock, they know what it is by extrapolating the data from the tag. Same kind of thing with my UPC example. It's that kind of data that's on there. Thanks for the question. Anybody else? All right. Thanks, everybody.